Attention passionate Detroit, Lions fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Detroit Lions' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave division rivals stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Detroit Lions fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRIENDS and Detroit LIONS fans. Let's get to the news now. Folks, buckle up because what's swirling around the NFL right now could be a game changer for the Detroit Lions, and it's got everyone talking in NFL circles. There are whispers, rumors, and some pretty strong buzz coming from Pro Football Reference and other inside sources that the Lions are making a bold move, potentially trading a first-round pick in 2026 and a fourth-rounder in 2027 to bring in Orlando Brown Jr., the tackle currently with the Cincinnati Bengals. And if this deal goes down, it could reshape the Lions' offensive line and give them an even better shot at a deep playoff run, maybe even a Super Bowl appearance sooner than many expect. Now I know what some of you might be thinking, Orlando Brown Jr. That's a big name, but what's the real story here? Well, let me break it down for you. Brown, a massive and imposing tackle standing at 6'8", and weighing around 345 pounds, has been a dominant force when healthy. Drafted in 2018 out of Oklahoma, he quickly established himself as one of the league's premier tackles, especially during his time with the Kansas City Chiefs before moving to Cincinnati. His NFL journey is a story of resilience and relentless development, and he's now at the peak of his powers. In terms of career statistics, Orlando Brown Jr. has played over 90 games, starting most of them, and has been a reliable protector for his quarterbacks. His pass-blocking metrics are particularly impressive. His PFF, Pro Football Focus, grade sits at an elite 88.7, a figure that ranks him among the top tackles in the league. Such a grade reflects consistency, technical proficiency, and a rare ability to neutralize some of the league's most dangerous pass rushers. He allows only about 4% of pressures, meaning he's very effective at preventing defenders from getting to the quarterback, an important stat when considering the Lions need to protect Jared Goff, especially given Goff's proven ability to elevate his game in high-pressure moments. Brown's run-blocking skills are equally noteworthy. He maintains an 80% run-block win rate, indicative of his ability to create push at the line of scrimmage and open running lanes. This is especially relevant for the Lions, who have invested heavily in their rushing attack, with Jahmyr Gibbs emerging as a star and David Montgomery providing a steady veteran presence. With Brown anchoring the right tackle position, the Lions could see a significant uptick in their rushing efficiency, which in turn opens up play-action opportunities and stretches defenses vertically. Considering his recent 2025 season, Orlando Brown played in 14 games, starting 13 of them. Despite battling a shoulder injury in Week 12 that limited him to just 20% of snaps over 2 games, he finished the year with only 5 sacks allowed and maintained an 82% pass block efficiency. He also recorded 11 pancakes, highlighting his run-blocking prowess, and committed only 6 penalties, a sign of discipline and technique. His durability, combined with his size, strength, and technical skill, makes him a perfect fit for the Lions' offensive scheme, which relies on Goff's quick release and the offensive line's ability to sustain blocks. So why might the Bengals be willing to part ways with Brown? Cincinnati finished the 2025 season with a disappointing 6-11 record, signaling a period of transition and rebuilding. The team is navigating salary cap constraints, currently around $17 million in cap space, and looking to free up additional funds, about $21 million, to acquire draft capital and rebuild their roster. Their offensive line, which was supposed to be a strength, struggled at times, especially with Joe Burrow under pressure. Burrow, who had been an MVP contender, dealt with injuries and inconsistent protection, completing only 65% of his passes and taking a toll from the pressure he faced. The team's sacks allowed averaged 5.2 per game in 2025, an area they clearly aim to improve. Cincinnati's front office is prioritizing flexibility and draft capital to rebuild their roster, especially their wide receiver core, after trading away some key veterans and missing on certain draft picks. They see Brown as a valuable trade asset to generate picks and cap space, even if it means losing a top-tier tackle. However, this move could be risky, they're surrendering a premier pass protector, and the offensive line's struggles contributed directly to Burrow's injury issues and some of the team's offensive stagnation. Now, for the Lions, this potential acquisition could be transformative. Imagine Orlando Brown Jr. On the right side of the line. His size and athleticism would immediately bolster the Lions' pass protection, which has been solid but inconsistent at times. Last season, Detroit allowed 34 sacks, which ranked 15th in the league, but with Brown, that number could drop significantly, possibly into the mid-20s or even lower. The impact on Jared Goff's confidence and performance would be profound. He's a quarterback who thrives with time and stability in the pocket. The Lions' offensive scheme, led by head coach Dan Campbell and offensive coordinator Ben Johnson, emphasizes a balanced attack. Part of their identity is the ability to run the ball effectively and then hit play-action passes. Brown's addition would help unlock that identity even further. His presence on the right tackle spot would create a stalwart in the trenches, allowing the Lions to execute their run game with even more authority. Jahmyr Gibbs, a dynamic young running back, would benefit from more consistent blocking, and the entire offense would become more explosive. Furthermore, with Brown protecting Goff's blind side on the right, the Lions can diversify their protections and reduce the pressure on their interior linemen. This is particularly important because Detroit's interior line, center Frank Ragnow and guard Jonah Jackson, are solid, but adding Brown at tackle would give the team more flexibility. The offensive line, which has undergone significant improvements over the past few seasons, would reach an elite level with this addition, making Detroit a nightmare for defenses trying to generate pressure. Now, some of you might be wondering about the ripple effects. What does this mean for the NFC North? Well, it could significantly alter the division's landscape. The Vikings and Bears are both rebuilding, but the Packers with Jordan Love are trying to ascend. However, if Detroit fortifies its offensive line further, it could give the Lions an edge over their rivals in both the regular season and playoffs. A dominant offensive line often translates into longer drives, more sustained scoring, and fewer turnovers, key ingredients for postseason success. Looking ahead, the Lions are already viewed as one of the most promising teams in the NFC. Their 2025 season saw them finish 12-5, their best record in over 2 decades, and they narrowly missed a deep playoff run. The team's core, Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, and a rising defense led by Aiden Hutchinson, is young, talented, and hungry. Adding a player like Orlando Brown Jr. could be the final piece that puts Detroit over the top, making them legitimate Super Bowl contenders. Statistically, the Lions have been trending upward. Their offensive metrics improved significantly from previous seasons, averaging over 25 points per game, ranking in the top half of the league, and boasting a top 5 rushing attack. Their defense also improved, but the offensive line was a slightly inconsistent area, particularly against elite pass rushers like Micah Parsons or Myles Garrett. Brown's addition would help neutralize those threats and give Goff the time to find his playmakers downfield. Furthermore, historically, the Lions franchise has struggled to maintain consistent success, often marred by poor offensive lines and underwhelming defenses. However, in recent years, Detroit has made strategic investments to change that narrative. The drafting of Penei Sewell in 2020, who has become an all-pro caliber tackle, was a turning point. Now adding Brown would be a statement move, signaling that the Lions are serious about contending for championships and building a sustainable winning culture. In terms of expectations for the future, fans should be optimistic. If the Lions pull off this trade, they will have one of the most formidable offensive lines in the league, arguably top 3. This would allow their offense to operate at a higher level than ever before, making them a matchup nightmare. Defensively, Detroit remains stout against the run and has promising young players in the secondary like Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch. With an improved offensive line, the entire team's chemistry and confidence could skyrocket. The Detroit Lions also have a history of resilience and overcoming adversity. From their long-standing struggles in the 2000s to their recent resurgence under Dan Campbell and general manager Brad Holmes, the franchise has shown a willingness to invest in talent and build through the draft and strategic trades. This potential Brown acquisition fits that philosophy, adding a proven star to a core that is already on the rise. Looking at individual players, Jared Goff's performance has been a revelation under Campbell's system. Last season, Goff threw for over 500 yards and 29 touchdowns, showcasing his ability to excel when protected. His connection with receivers like Amon-Ra St. Brown has been electric, and his leadership has been instrumental in the team's success. Protecting Goff with a top-tier tackle like Brown could unlock even more of his potential, potentially elevating him into the conversation of top-tier quarterbacks in the league. On the other side of the ball, the Lions' defense features a promising pass rush led by Aiden Hutchinson, who had 9.5 sacks in 2025, earning his first Pro Bowl selection. Adding offensive stability with Brown would give the Lions the confidence to unleash their pass rush more freely, knowing their quarterback has more protection. The secondary, anchored by Kirby Joseph and Cam Sutton, would benefit from a more consistent pass rush, leading to more turnovers and scoring opportunities. And let's not forget the importance of team culture and leadership. Orlando Brown Jr. is known for his work ethic, leadership in the locker room, and resilience, having overcome setbacks early in his career to become an elite tackle. His presence would set a tone for the younger players on the Lions, emphasizing the importance of toughness, preparation, and consistency. That said, it's also worth considering the broader NFL context. The NFC has become increasingly competitive, with teams like the Eagles, 49ers, and Cowboys all vying for supremacy. The Lions' potential addition of Brown could catapult them into that upper echelon, giving them the offensive line stability they need to compete at a championship level. In terms of expectations, fans should prepare for a possible deep playoff run in 2026, especially if the Lions make this offensive line upgrade. With a formidable front, Goff can be more aggressive, and the offense can diversify its attack. Their defense, which already shows promise, could become even more disruptive, forcing turnovers and creating scoring opportunities. Moreover, this move could influence the Lions' long-term strategy, if they succeed in acquiring Orlando Brown Jr. It might encourage them to target other key positions through free agency or the draft, perhaps a star linebacker or cornerback to bolster the defense further. It's part of a broader vision to build a balanced, championship-caliber team capable of competing with the league's best. Finally, for the fans, this potential trade is more than just an upgrade. It's a statement. It signals that Detroit is serious about contending now, not just in a few years. With Brown on the roster, the Lions' identity on offense would be one of physicality and dominance, reminiscent of the great offensive lines of the past that helped teams like the 2000 Ravens or the 2013 Seahawks make deep playoff runs. In conclusion, the possible acquisition of Orlando Brown Jr. is a move that could define the Lions' franchise in the coming years. It's about more than just adding a talented tackle. It's about signaling a commitment to excellence, building a team that can contend not just for a division title but for a Super Bowl. The synergy of a top-tier offensive line, explosive skill players, and a resilient defense could make Detroit a truly formidable opponent in the NFC, and perhaps, finally, bring the Lombardi Trophy back to the Motor City after decades of longing and hope. So, Lions fans, stay tuned, keep the faith, and get ready for what could be one of the most exciting off-seasons in franchise history. The future is bright, and the roar is about to get even louder. Let's go, Detroit.